Hello and welcome to Loving Me, Myself, and Life with me, Jody Misiak. So over a decade ago, I had this tagline on emails, especially when I did like a clothing line and a very small clothing line and just even selling skincare and stuff. I'd always have this tagline and it was dare to live your dreams. And I had it there because I think personally I wanted to be a person that goes out and lives my dreams. And I think it almost felt fake or like just not reachable at points for me. And then I moved on a little bit more to self-care and self-love and things like that. And the thing is, I remember it just dawned on me that's like that is what I've always wanted, was to be a person that dares to go after my dreams. And I finally know what that really feels like. It took me so many years. Like I said, I had this tagline for over a decade. And it felt like it was something like, I'm like, yeah, I guess I was doing things I would try to like remove fear and things like that. But I feel like I wasn't really stepping out of that. I felt like I was stepping out of the comfort zone. But so I did a little bit. And I definitely said yes to some things. I guess it was big things back then. But to like retrospective now, they were really little things to compare to what I just went over this past year with the big move. So for the long time, like it took me, like I said, years. And I always felt like some people can do it. Like they can just go out and do it. They go big. You know, some people might have thought this move across the country was a big deal. To me, it was. So I had some stuff to work through. You know, fears holding me back, and I really just had to really get clear on who I was. You know, so many years of doing things for others or just turning into the person because another person, that's what the other person, you know, was reflecting, and just kind of like I remember I watched wrestling, like WWE, never enjoyed the thing ever. I guess I made it fun because I do that. I just try to adapt. But it was never something I wanted to do, but I did because friends were doing it. And like, I never felt in that time of my life, I was actually doing much that I wanted to do. I was just doing what other people wanted to do. And it's so freeing when you no longer do that. Like, yes, if I want to go do something with somebody, I will do it. But not continuously doing everything else that I don't want to do, right? It's finding that fun balance. So I had to let go of so many emotions, so much self-care, so much self-love, and really understanding my self-worth, that I was worthy of living my dreams. That was a big hurdle, that I could actually pursue big dreams. And I look back, and when my son wasn't sleeping for 2 years, I deep dived into the world of self-help books. Like I read every single book I could. I listened to, I think back then I was still listening to audiobooks. That's what I do now a lot of the time, doing dishes and things like that. I like super deep dived into self-care books and just immersed myself in motivating, inspiring things, like super. And I took in as much as I could. And then after he finally slept through the night, I could just take what I learned from that and slowly, like those 2 years of like non-sleeping really helped me to make my self-care and myself a priority. So yes, I wasn't sleeping through the night, but when he was napping, I was taking care of myself, or, you know, like there's just so much I was focusing on. I was working with a natural path to make sure I was taking care of my body the best I could when I wasn't sleeping and things like that. So it's incredible what can happen in our lives to really have us focus. Now, this wasn't the beginning of my self-love journey at all. If you've been following, no, that was like years and years before that. But those moments, like those 2 years and a little bit more probably, that's all I did. I was building a company. Well, finishing school first, building a company, and, you know, raising my daughter as well, and now getting to know our little son as well. But nothing else mattered around that, like my family, obviously, and my business, and then also my self-care was like top up there with everything else. So, but like that was my world. I didn't do much else in those 2 years. So my self-care, my self-love really blossomed in those 2 years. And in that, like just, it kept just snowballing after those 2 years. It just kept going. And the more I learned about myself, the more and like I grew and I changed. And I was finally able to see myself going after one of my biggest dreams. I could finally wrap my head around it. And then I shared it with some people's, my ideas, and then it just kind of skyrocketed from there. And I shared about that in another episode of the podcast. I'm not sure which one it was, but I've talked about it where that is. But like, it's so funny how this tagline, dare to live your dreams. And it was definitely something I really wanted people to go out and do. And it was something I personally wanted to do. And I wanted to be one of those people. Yet I didn't truly live it almost a decade later. Well, like in a big, ginormous way. And again, it's not, I'm not beating myself up. It's just very fun and fascinating. Sometimes something feels so outreach, like so far away, so non-reachable, or just, you don't think you'd be that person. And you continue to love and nurture yourself. Get to know yourself. Enjoy the journey and the process. And all of a sudden one day look back, go, wow, I accomplished something I thought I might never reach. It's a big deal and an amazing feeling. So just know that if you have these big, ginormous dreams and you want to reach them, you can. It just takes a little love, a little care, and possibly some time and patience, depending on where you're sitting on your dream journey. But you can get there with persistence and just some more extra self-love, and just, take one step in front of the other and continue to dare to live your dream. Because if you can believe it, you can achieve it. I hope you have a beautiful, beautiful day. Bye for now.